2 or 3 at a time, do their hot lap qualifying sessions all together. So once again, thanks to Holder Construction Services. Todd, Gator, of course, Rhonda, and the whole crew there. This year they got the Ambassador Award here at Atomic Speedway for everything they do, for all the cars they sponsor and all the tracks that they sponsor, not just here at Atomic Speedway, but everything they do in the racing world here in Southern Ohio into West Virginia. And I believe that night we asked them, and they said they had about 7 cars in the house that had their Holder Construction Services name on them. So this year, again, they've been the title sponsor for the Sport Mod Series. And again, good to have them in the house with us tonight. And Mike Goins in the house with us tonight. We're just going to have fun again, just like we did last night. If you're joining us on Flow, just welcome.
Looking at this field of sport mods here on the racetrack, at this point in the year, we still got some beautiful race cars. Often, you go places around the country and see sport mods. By the time you get to the end of the year, things are looking a little rough. Guys are ready to put new bodies on them, but nice-looking field of cars. And looking at some of the names here tonight, of course, the veteran, longtime veteran here, many-time track champion Bob Crace Jr., told me back in the pit area he finally blew that motor of his, the original sport mod motor he's had for like 11 years, and got a borrowed motor. But nice field of sport mods with us.
And probably a third of the cars here have Bob Crace motors in them. So there's quite a few of his here. Also, Landon Barker in that 5 machine. That is actually a Jamie Adams machine. And, of course, Landon Barker, his graphics company, he kept the sheet metal yellow and just put some fresh graphics on that machine. So that is a Jamie Adams car.
Of course, Pac-Man, Adam Jones there, longtime competitor here at Speedway. Tonka Harris out on the racetrack. Down the backstretch, the black and teal 9K. I believe we've been seeing Kevin Wills in that car, but tonight
got
Deegan Bloomfield behind the wheel. I see Deegan run with us down at Moeller Raceway Park on a lot of Friday nights, so it looks like he's going to try his hand, a little different race car here from the Kevin Wills.
And Nick McNichols, that good-looking 17, of course, that is a direct copy of Sheldon Hansfield paint scheme. And so I've just been kind of wondering what's he going to show up with next year. We'll have to wait and see just what Sheldon's plans are exactly for next year. Also, that 62 machine, man, 62C at Jeff Conrad, that has been one fast rocket ship here of late.
So always good sport mods, nice, close. And again, 17 of them signed in. Probably a lot of sport mods in the region have already kind of shut down for the season, called it a year, but 17 of them still a couple heat races and a nice feature event here tonight to showcase these.
It'll make a good show.
Yeah.
Cam Hauser in that 30-30 machine. Also Adam Lawson, the 79. That car has gotten faster, I think, every time he's been on the racetrack this year, so glad for them. Joe Williams in the 72. Nephew Brody Williams in the 772. Of course, the grandson and great-grandson of the late Merle Williams, a longtime car builder in the old original 772 here at Atomic Speedway. And so as they're going around, we're also making sure everybody's hitting on the transponders. Austin Barker in the deuce. Scorers and announcers love the graphics on Austin's car because you can read the number.
79.
Nick Anderson in that black 95. The 62T, that's going to be Kyle Payne. That is your track champion this year in the sport mods. You talk about a guy that's been consistent, just running every night top 5s. And that's what it takes. You got him a victory this year also. But real happy.
Also seeing Kyle jumping in a little open wheel action there at the end of the season as well.
He bought Joe Allegre's 305 sprint car. So, of course, if you ask his daughter, she'll tell you that's her sprint car. And I'm not getting in the middle of that.
No.
Because I got a feeling Mom's got something to say about that, too. So right now we've got 16 of them that have crossed the line with the transponders. Of course, we use the electronic scoring system. We have a wire loop in the racetrack, comes back to a computer. The cars all have, I call them secret decoder rings, like James Bond would use, but it's a box that's mounted on the same spot on every race car. Different classes have them in different spots, but in that class, everybody has it on the same spot. So if you're side by side at the line and it's, 2/1000ths difference, it can tell who is there first. And that's how we do our qualifying. That's also how we do our scoring during the race. We do have a human being backing up the scoring during the races. So we use a little bit of electronics. And electronics is good as long as it works. Also, in use here at Atomic Speedway, we use the receiver one-way communications. Race director and the scorer, they have radios that talk directly to the racers. They can hear us, but they can't talk back. Now, if you want to try that at home, that's between you and your significant other. I ain't getting in the middle of that mess neither. Good to have some of our friends up here giving us a hand tonight. Robert Penrod. He just told me that receiver is good for a mother-in-law also. I ain't going there. We'll let him deal with that.
Everything in his life is about personal choices there, Bruce. Personal choices. You do you.
I do me, and I think I made some pretty smart choices.
All right, Bruce, looks like we're going to get going here with the first set of hot laps. And, of course, for the Sport Mods, this is their hot lap qualifying.
Hot lap and qualifying together. First up on the racetrack is going to be the 95 machine out of Zanesville, Ohio. That's going to be Nick Anderson in that 95. Also the 62C machine, that Cleanway carpet cleaning machine out of Chillicothe. And also the 73 machine, and that's Ski Pop, Holes Apple Family Clinic, Sky High Power Incorporated, Beaver Valley Sportsman's Club, the 73 machine of Tonka Harris. So Nick Anderson, Jeff Conrad, Tonka Harris, that's your first three on the clock. First lap for Nick Anderson going to be a 16:9:29. Jeff Conrad going to be a 16:066. Tonka Harris going to be a 16:491. Second lap for Anderson going to be a 16:806. Conrad going to be a 16:084. Real consistent laps for Conrad. And at VFW Post 108, Rob Bray Logging, Donnie Payne Motorsports, AAA Sand and Gravel, Sheets Race Engines, Gleason's Body Shop, and First Capital really also on that Kyle Payne car that's coming up next. I got two 62s tonight. One of them's a C and one of them's a T, and that almost gets tough up here.
Both of them are very fast race cars as well, so it'll be your luck they're going to be right there together on the racetrack.
2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of them won the feature. The other was crowned track champion for the year. So that just gives you an idea of just how fast those cars are. So again, Kyle Payne in that 62T machine. Cole Flesher out of Circleville, and that Timmons Excavating, Southern Ohio Forest Rally. Car number 26, also the 3030 machine out of Chillicothe, at Hauser & Son Farm Equipment, Bill's Bait House, Mark Fraser CPA, Morgan Farms, C&M Racing, the 3030 of Cam Hauser. You ask him why they call him 3030. I'll let you do that. Kyle Payne's first lap's going to be a 16.280. Cole Flesher with a 16.360, and Camden Hauser with a 16.329. Kyle Payne second lap, 16.394. Flesher with a 16.380, and Cam Hauser with a 16.197. That puts Hauser second on the speed chart. Up next to that 772 machine out of Chillicothe, Ohio, and that Moron Brothers Baloney, Fuzz Hausers, Flowmaster, Buckeye Archery, Brewster Real Estate, Ernie Bud Honey. That's a 772 of Brody Williams. Also in the 9K machine. That's going to be Deegan Bloomfield in the Kevin Wilzone machine. That Clean Away Carpet Cleaning, Top-Notch Towing, 9K. Also on the track out of Chillicothe, in that car number 79, that's going to be Adam Lawson. Brody Williams' first lap's going to be at 18.363. Deegan Bloomfield with a 17.723. Adam Lawson with a 16.630. Second lap for Brody's going to be an 18.061. Bloomfield with a 16.697. Better lap for him. Adam Lawson with a 15.997. Quick time for Lawson. As I said earlier, that car has got faster, it seems like, every week this year.
Yeah, and for the 9 machine, Deegan Bloomfield, first time here at the racetrack, and I believe it might be the first time in that race car as well. So,
yes.
Again, different car he's been running this season down at the Moeller Raceway Park, and coming over here, that's the Kevin Wills machine. So next group already rolling.
In the 7-Eleven machine out of Chillicothe, Ohio, that's going to be the Waverly Collision, Thomas Gas, Mark Fraser CPA, Dole's Automotive and Racing Supply, the 7-Eleven, the real Pac-Man, Adam Jones, and then the 72 machine, that Good Health Chiropractic, Hauser's Garage, Ernie Bud Honey, Flowmasters, Brewster Real Estate. That's going to be the 72 of Joe Williams, instead of Dave Williams, former racer here at Atomic Speedway. And then the 23 machine out of Masseyville, Ohio, that C&M Racing Equipment, Baltimore machine, Indian Creek Lawn Care, Affordable Doors, Hooch's Fine Wine and Liquor, Appalachian Stump Grinding, Hauser & Son. That is the 23 of Bob Crace Jr. Pac-Man Jones, first lap's going to be a 16.385. Joe Williams with a 17.288. Jones' second lap is going to be a 16.395, and Williams with a 16.982.
Problems there with Bob Crace as he pulled in right away and come to a stop there in the infield. So issues for the veteran in the 23 car, Bob Crace Jr., having some mechanical issues, not getting a lap in qualifying. So he'll be behind the 8 ball, as mentioned, last couple weeks of the season in a borrowed engine. For as many engines as he builds, had to borrow one to get through these last couple of races. As tore his up about a month ago.
Says it's all about parts sometimes. So on the track now, that 17 machine out of Vinton, Ohio, and that Kings Inn, Getaway Cabins, KRD Construction, EP Roofing, Robson Trucking, the 17 and Nick McNichols, and then the 11S machine out of Columbus, Ohio, and that Well Force Foundation Repair, Ashbrook Grill and Bar, Columbus Food Truck Trailer, that's the 11S of Sterling Packer. And also in the Deuce out of Waverly, the PT Auto Crushing, Cut Rights Total Maintenance, LPG Graphics, Izzy's One Stop. That's the Deuce of Austin Barker. First lap for Nick McNichols going to be a 16.625. Packer's going to be a 17.272, and Austin Barker with a 15.800. Quick time for Austin Barker. McNichols' second lap's going to be a 16.649. Packer with a 16.983. Austin Barker's second lap is even quicker with a 15.792. Wow. That youngster's been getting, he's another one that's just been getting faster all year. Of course, it's kind of one of the things, he's always been fast, but now he's learning to race fast. It's one thing to qualify fast. It's another thing to go fast with a lot of cars on the racetrack.
And final car out on the racetrack here for our hot lap qualifying in the Sport Mods. It's going to be the 5 car, another Barker. This is going to be Landon Barker.
And at Barker's Tire and Auto, Flowmasters, Buckeye Graphics, Fine Quality Builders, NV Material, that is Landon Barker. Again, that is a Jamie Adams car that Landon is in. during one of the testing tunes. I believe he jumped in it, and Jamie said, just drive it the rest of the year. Jamie's got a new car he's been working on, kind of developing, if you will. 16:046. First lap for Landon Barker. Of course, that chassis, that car, has been in victory lane many times here at Atomic Speedway. Second lap's going to be a 15:869. That's got him second quick. So the Barker cousins, okay? The Barker cousins, they have qualified first and second. Austin Barker going to be quick time, followed by Landon Barker, Adam Lawson, Jeff Conrad, Cam Hauser, Kyle Payne, Cole Flesher, Backman Jones, Tonka Harris, Nick McNichols, Deegan Bloomfield, Nick Anderson, Sterling Packer, Joe Williams, Brody Williams, and Bob Crace Jr. I believe coming up next, that's going to be the Ohio Heating and Cooling 410 Sprint Car Hot Laps. Going to push a bunch of them off, let them hot lap, and then they'll be back a little later, because after that, then we will have the Valvoline American late model Ironman Series pull out for their hot lap sessions. Sprint car hot laps coming up next. Going to run four groups of sprint cars coming out for their hot lap session. So we'll let you know as they come out. And immediately after that, that will be the Valvoline Ironman late model hot lap session. Race fans, don't forget March the 27th, 2026. Also July the 4th, 2026. You don't need to go no place else for fireworks on the 4th of July. We're going to have them right here at Atomic Speedway with the Lucas Oil Late Model Series right here in the house with us. Looks like first group getting ready to push off. Creed Kimmel on that 15 machine. Going to be the first one out of the chute. They're going to bring it nice and easy around here. Keith Sheffer. They call him the Daredevil in that 45 machine. Also in that Rudzik Excavating. Car number 49X, that's going to be Cale Thomas. Had a good run last night. See Spook coming through turn 4. Anthony Gaskins in the 00. Also that 97, that's going to be Zane DeVault. 59 machine. Another one of our regulars here at Atomic. That's going to be Brian Knuckles. Mike Keegan, representing Northern Ohio. And that famed Keegan family in that car number X.
Yeah, a couple of these guys had a really good run last night. Obviously, Cale Thomas, he and Sterling Kling got together coming for the green flag last night. And Cale, I think, was 8th as they went into turn number 1 and charged back to 2nd by the end of the race. And Brian Knuckles, toward the end of the race last night, also was charging forward and had a good run going late in the feature event. So a couple of these guys looked good last night. Of course, the 45 car, Scheffler, for a guy who hasn't been here much, was very impressive to me last night. Of course, he finished 3rd a couple weeks back. So nice field of cars, and look like we're already down in that 11-second bracket. Mid-11s for Cale Thomas already.
Track is already fast. And this is just hot laps. This is just hot laps. You're seeing these guys really biting, really getting into it. So first hot lap session again. This is just hot laps. This is not qualifying. Cale Thomas first out of this group with 11.585. We'll see just how that averages up when it comes time for qualifying here a little later. Creed Kimmel, the only other car in the 11s with an 11.763. So they will come through the infield, go up to the backstretch, take those cars back to the pit area, make whatever adjustments they think they need to make. And they'll be back after the late model hot laps for their qualifying.
So the part of the graphic creation sign there on the backstretch coming down onto the racetrack as the checker flag was waving. So Brian Phipps going to have to work on his billboard back here a little bit.
Pushing that much air off the top of them sprint cars.
Well, Cale Thomas turning 11 of 5.85. That's getting it around here.
That's getting it. You know, realistically, that's within, what, about 6/10, I think, of the track record on sprint cars. So we're so fast, we're tearing the racetrack up.
I'm going to assume that's still
Charlie don't want to hear that, but we're so fast, we're tearing up the racetrack. That's
Brock Mays still the all-time track record holder.
Of course, last night we had a rock take out a window. Harassing track owner Charlie Vest. Of course, he just tells us he's glad Jesus loves me on that remark, but that's all right. He does.
Group 2 being pushed off there on a backstretch.
Bryce Norris out of Terre Haute, Indiana in the 37 machine. Josh Davis, great run last night in that 4 machine. Also pushing off. Zeth Sabo out of Tiffin, Ohio, was not with us last night. Glad to have Zeth with us here this evening. Last night's winner, Cole Duncan at A79, that John Shoebrook's own machine. Guy that really had a lot of speed early last night, that 88, that's Austin McCarl. That's the big unit, Austin McCarl. Also in the 34. Correction, 24.
Yeah, Florida man Danny Sams there in out of North Park, Florida, in the 24 machine.
It's a fun family to be around.
Anytime you can go travel the country with your family on a national touring event, that's a good thing. And you mentioned Austin McCarl was very good last night, winner of the Dash event, started on the pole, led the first few laps. I'm sure he was not very pleased with how the second half of the feature event went last night. Is kind of faded a little bit toward the end of the feature, and he's definitely going to be looking for a little redemption here tonight in that beautiful 88 car.
Word was wrong choice on the right rear. Most of that field was in the 11s. So track is taking some speed. Cale Thomas still going to be your quick time here during hot laps. And again, this is just hot laps. But Danny Sams now second, and then Bryce Norris, Creed Kimenall, Cole Duncan fifth on the speed chart, Austin Carl sixth, Zeth Sabo seventh. All those cars in the 11s at 1193 or under. So that's getting it. That's
pretty impressive that you got 4 of them right now under an 11.8. Again, we're just in hot laps, so this really doesn't mean anything. They're going to go back, do some adjustments, and that's kind of the beauty of
they're going to kind of squeeze on them a little bit.
Yeah. Beauty of dirt car racing is racetrack will change, and the drivers have to keep up with that as we go through the night. And already got Group 3 up there ready to push off. Again, a few more cars here tonight that weren't with us last night, so up to 25 is sprint cars here this evening, so should be a great show. Of course, last night, if you weren't with us here in the stands last night, or if you didn't watch on Flow last night, the sprint car feature went green to checker in 8 minutes and 1 second, and there was action all the way throughout. So expecting some more of that here tonight. And it looks like the 10 car, Darren Nida, being pushed off there on the backstretch. The black and blue number 10 machine out of Adrian, Michigan. Behind him, another guy that put on a nice little show last night out of Rawson, Ohio. The 3 car, Ricky Peterson. He had a charge through the field there late in the event, and he was probably looking for a few more laps to go last night.
He was wanting more. Nate Reeser in that 83 machine. Also Eric Martin in the 5M. The 32, that'd be Bryce Lucius. The 1 machine out of Chillicothe, that's going to be Keith Baxter. So again, 25. Ohio Heating sprint cars signed in.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So third of four groups being told to get them wound up as the green flag is going to come out. And Cale Thomas still setting the quickest lap so far here at Hot Laps at an 11:585. Bryce Lucius in that black and red 32 machine last night was very fast throughout the evening. And again, that youngster's got a lot of great support behind him and some veteran crew chief and crew members. And young man's been very impressive this season.
And Lucius now another in the 11-second club. With 11:967. That'll do hot lap session number 3. One more session for the sprint cars.
All right, Jack, last group fixing to go on the racetrack. Looks like you got your first group up. Good job, guys. We're ready to go when the sprint cars go off the track for group.
Again, Bryce Lucius quick out of that group. Should be
If I'm not mistaken, he was fastest in that group in his quickest lap. He was actually passing a car going to the middle of the racetrack. So that's even a little more impressive. Could have been even faster.
That's impressive. When you're the fastest in the group and you're still passing cars, that's why it's just hot laps. Coming out in this group out of Leduc, Alberta, Canada, that's going to be the 99 machine. That is going to be Skylar G. Also Zach Dahm in the 5D. Sterling Kling in the 34. Gage Garcia out of Lemoore, California in the 16 machine. TJ Michael should be up out of West Plano, Texas in the 19. And the man from Chillicothe High, remember the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, that is Mr. Danny Smith in the 4 machine. Last night we had 8 different states represented sprint cars plus Canada. Haven't added them up yet tonight. But we got one from California now, so that might even give us 9 states plus Canada here this evening. So that's...
Yeah, Gage Garcia, first time racing here in the Midwest. Quickly become a part of the Lindner family, one of the Lindner kids, so to speak. As at Lemoore, California, all open wheel fans know, there's a pretty famous set of brothers. The Macedo family resides in Lemoore, California, and apparently Gage kind of connected in terms of family.
Some extended family there. Some extended family there is our understanding. But I tell you what, when you go up north and you're part of that Linder family, there's 3 or 4 families up there. If you're part of those families, if they're taking an interest in you and helping you along a little bit, that will make you light years ahead when it comes to working with these machines.
Well, when multiple families have sent their children across the country to spend some time with the Linders and go racing with them, that tells a lot of trust. And obviously, when you talk about the Macedos, you talk about Buddy Kofoid, drivers like that have turned into quite the individuals in terms of professional racers, and we'll see if Gage Garcia might be the next in that line. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone.
Not just professional racers, but professionals. That's something they teach with it. That's something they're going to rub off on you, just being around them. So here we go. I believe we're just about ready to go green on this final session of Hot Laps 4, the Ohio Heating Cooling Sprint Cars.
And I can't stress enough last night how impressed I was with Sterling Kling, not only in the heat race, but in the dash event. That 34 car, very impressive for Sterling Kling. Again, someone that's got a lot of non-wing experience and wing experience. And Sterling Kling was very good last night throughout the evening.
Skylar G's looking fast. 11.7. Yeah. His entry into turn 3, that last lap, was pretty quick. Skylar G, the only one of the 11s out of that group. So a lot of low 12s, a lot of solid race cars in that group. TJ Michael with a 12-2. Sterling Kling with a 12-3. So that is going to do it for hot laps for the sprint cars.
Of course, we talk about how fast they were, but none of that's going to mean anything.
Don't mean
we'll get them
nothing
back
now.
out here in
winning hot laps
their
don't pay.
qualifications.
Winning hot laps don't pay anything.
Makes you feel good, though, when you
Makes you
see
feel
that
good.
at the end of the hot lap session when you're up top. That makes you feel good as a team and as a driver. But, yeah, we're going to get the 410s off. Looks like Track Crew's going to scrape the wall down here in turns 1 and 2 and help Little Vision entering the corners. And
It comes up pretty quick down there.
very quick.
Michael Despain, good to have you back in the house tonight, buddy.
Bruce, Mike, thank you so much for having me. And once again, good afternoon, race fans. God bless. Welcome to Atomic Speedway. For all you great race fans here in attendance, if you've got friends and neighbors debating on whether they want to come, give them a call and tell them they still got time to get here to Atomic Speedway this evening. Thank all of you watching at home on FloRacing as well. As the first of 4 groups of Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series fueled by VP competitors getting set to roll out for Slicker Graphics Hot Laps. 26 machines signed in, representing 6 states on the grounds here for night 2 of the Night the Stars come out. And the season finale for the Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series. First group of cars going to be let out by last night's winner. He is back in the Blue Horn, folks, in that 157 out of Winfield, Tennessee. The Winfield Warrior, Mike Marler, in the 157. The S21 had a 6th place finish here last night. He's out of Jackson, Ohio, Seth Daniels. Seth Daniels in S21. The B1 machine, the veteran out of Wheelersburg, Ohio. That is Josh Bocook, but Josh Bocook in B1. The 14-year-old in the 31 had a 9th place finish last night, guys. He's competed with us 3 times so far this season, has never finished outside the top 10. That's the 31 of the 14-year-old Lincoln Smith. He is out of Belmont, Ohio, working off of turn number 2. Also out in this group, last night's runner-up, the 2025 Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion, out of Dresden, Ohio, the mailman, Devin Moran. And last night's hard charger from 16th to 10th. In the main event, the 12 out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, racing Jason Jameson. Want to take this opportunity to thank some of the sponsors and marketing partners for the Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series. Valvoline Global Operations, VP Racing Fuels, Hoosier Racing Tire, Jailbreaker Brands, Stack Products, Dirt Car Racing, Excess Power Batteries, Todd Steel Buildings, Flow Racing, Dirt on Dirt, 5-Star Bodies and MD3, Conley River Terminal and Impact Race Gear. Mike Marler quickest here at the moment in Slicker Graphics Hot Laps at 13.430. Jason Jameson second at 13.735. Devin Moran third at 13.834. Seth Daniels fourth at 14.107. Lincoln Smith fifth, 14.127. Josh Bocook sixth at 14.497. Second group of Slicker Graphics Hot Laps fixing to roll track side, and one of the younger Marler brothers in that 57 machine, that is Cameron Marler in the Greg Curl owned 57. He is out of Winfield, Tennessee. In the 71C, the 2025 Atomic Speedway Late Model Track Champion out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, R.J. Conley in 71C. In the 63, first time racing with us this weekend. He's raced with us at times in 2025. He is out of Holland, Ohio. That is Terry Rushlow. Terry Rushlow in 63. In the 33, out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, that is Kevin Wagner. Kevin Wagner in 33. The 28, out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, the Kamikaze Kid, Tyler Carpenter, the 2-time Gateway Dirt Nationals winner. And the final competitor out, or the next to last competitor out in this group, in that 53C machine, locks up the 2025 Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series title here today. Out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, that is Colton Burdett. And in the 27, the second generation racer, he is out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. That is Michael Lake. And caution here early. Deathridge Racing Opticians caution flying early is R.J. Conley. He has swapped ends of the race car in turn 1 and 2. It looks like he may have made some contact with that outside retaining wall there. And RJ gets the 71C righted. And looks like he may be headed back to his pit crew in the pit area. It's like a wheel cover bent and a lot of right rear quarter panel damage on that machine.
I think that could have been a lot worse, Spanky, but he did catch the edge of it just enough, but able to get off of it a little bit. Definitely some damage, maybe a flat, definitely a bent wheel, though, so we'll see him back in a little bit.
Because you can see where he cleaned the wall off right there a little bit in between the scrape marks. And want to thank some more of our sponsors and marketing partners for 2025. Algar Performance Parts, Algar Racing Shocks, Domination Race Cars, Swafford Signs, My Race Pass, Deathridge Racing Opticians, Wayne's Auto Repairs, Slicker Graphics, First Line Industries, Jim and Nancy Viox, LooseStyle.com, Octane Custom Trailers, Chris Nash Racing, and Dirt Empire Magazine. And a VP Racing Fuels checkered flag going down here on this second group. And Cameron Marlar going to be the fastest in this group, third overall at 13.770. Devin Moran, fourth quick now at 13.834. And Colton Burdett, fifth at 13.904. Those top five all under 14 seconds here at the moment in Slicker Graphics Hot Laps, as the first two groups make their way back to the pit area to get ready to go for VP Racing Fuels Challenge O'Clock Time Trials coming up here in just a little bit. Two more groups to go of Slicker Graphics Hot Laps, and then we will have time trials for the Ohio Heating and Cooling 410 Sprint Cars. Get everybody safely behind the wall. And we'll have a third group. We'll have 6 cars in this group. The final group will have 7. And this first group of drivers is going to be led out by the young man in the 00 machine. He is out of Wheelersburg, Ohio. In the 00 machine, part of that Conley Racing clan, if you will. That is Justin Cooper. Justin Cooper in the 00. Right behind him, Mike talked about him last night, one of the up-and-coming young guns of dirt late model racing here in the Ohio region. The 57 out of New Concord, Ohio, that is Caden Black. Caden Black in 57. In the 8 machine, he comes to you out of Swanton, Ohio. That is Rob Anderzak. Rob Anderzak in 8. The 5M, the veteran multi-time Wayne County Speedway track champion out of Ashland, Ohio. That is Ryan Markham. Ryan Markham in 5M. Last night's third place finisher in the 11 and grabbed the checkered flag here 2 weeks ago tonight in that James Ratliff Racing number 11 machine out of Critton in Kentucky. That is Josh Rice. Josh Rice in the 11. And a final driver out in this group in the 0 machine out of Middleburg, Pennsylvania. That is Andrew Yoder. And Mike, you were talking about Yoder last night. 7 wins on the season, regularly competes up at Sealings Grove, Pat Valley, those racetracks up in that area of Pennsylvania.
Port Royal, Sealings Grove, some of those places over there that, you know, late model racing in that part of the country we mentioned last night, very underrated. And I enjoy going over and seeing some late model racing every now and then. So young man adapted to the high banks here at Atomic last night really well. And see Josh Rice kind of moving around the racetrack a little bit there in the 11 car and jumping up to 7th quick overall in the 11 car. But, yeah.
Fastest driver in that group. 6th overall now, the 57 of Caden Black at 13.946. Josh Rice, 7th quick, second fastest in that group at 14.017. As the fourth and final group of Slicker Graphics Hot Laps starting to make their way to the racing surface. And with still running that throwback scheme that he debuted at the Harvest 50 weekend at Skyline Speedway. That is Freddie Carpenter out of Parkersburg, West Virginia in the C4. The Berlisle, Ohio Valley Steel Block Late Model Series champion for 2025, the 5M. That is Poco, West Virginia's Zach Milby. Right behind him, another Steel Block competitor in the 6 machine. He's out of Stoutsville, Ohio. That is Travis Carr. See the 71R had an 8th place finish here last night. The veteran out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, the hot rod, Rod Conley. Right behind him, the young man, 20 years of age in that 18C. That is Miles Cook II, MC2. Also out here, the 2025 Eldora Speedway Dirt Car Modified Track Champion in the 95 out of Wapakoneta, Ohio, the Jedi, Jerry Bowersock. And the final driver out in this group in that number 29, working through turns 1 and 2. He is out of Pataskala, Ohio. That is Clint Keenan. Clint Keenan in 29. Got his first career Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series victory here at Atomic Speedway back on August 23rd. And Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he finished second to Josh Rice here with Josh Rice's victory at Atomic back on October 11th.
I believe you're absolutely right. Spanky, watch these guys. They're running high into 3. It's almost like the whole car lifts up, especially that left front on some of these guys. You're seeing a lot of movement in some of these race cars, almost unreal, like that left front coming off the ground on a late model. Gets a little shaky looking right there. We see the 95 at Bowersock come right through that area, but seeing a lot of weight distribution on these cars.
And Slicker Graphics Hot Laps completed. Rod Conley, the fastest out of this group at 14:05.2. Clint Keenan second quick, 9th overall at 14:07.2. And the fastest in Slicker Graphics Hot Laps at 13.430. In the 157 out of Winfield, Tennessee, Mike Marler, quickest in Slicker Graphics Hot Laps. Yeah, we'll get the infield cleared out and just about set and ready to go. Get the push trucks to make their way outside.
Sprint cars.
And Ohio Heating and Cooling 410 sprint car time trials coming up next. When they are completed, we will have VP Racing Fuel Challenge O'Clock time trials for the Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series. And race fans, don't forget, those of you on the grounds, if you've not gotten yourself some Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series souvenir merchandise, the last time in 2025 to be able to do it, be sure you get back here and see Scott Rogers at the Rounders Racing souvenir tent back in the Midway area, back where the vendors row is at. And he's got your official 2025 Valvoline American Late Model Ironman Series souvenir merchandise. He's got T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, caps. I think even some long sleeve tees as well. So be sure and get back there and see Scotty and get you some souvenir merchandise. Want to give a big welcome to the promoters of Mud Lick Valley Raceway, the Gent family. Glad to have them here on the grounds with us at Atomic Speedway this evening. They do a great job with their promotion of Mud Lick Valley Raceway.
This is what you save your lunch money for. Welcome to the High Limit Room.
Hey, this is Kyle Larson, and you're watching the best pavement, dirt, and drag racing, all live on FloRacing. You have great racing on the track, you have great crowds.
400 race cars.
8 laps to go. Corner number 4 at the line. Brandon Overton.
First on the racetrack out of Columbus, Ohio. And that's CMS Distributing, Brian's Automotive, Beachwald Automotive, that Triple X chassis, Gressman horsepower. That's the 59 machine of Brian Knuckles. Also in the news out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, at All Seasons Power Sports, Ohio Valley, Indian Motorsports, Mike Martin Autobot, a GF1 chassis. That is the 00 of Anthony Gaskins. First lap for Knuckles is going to be a 12.878. Or correction, Knuckles is going to be a 12.878. Gaskin's going to be a 13.348. Second lap for Knuckles will be 12.750. Again, Gaston first lap 13.848. Second lap's going to be a 13.901.
So you mentioned we always talk about racing being a family sport, and that's a great example there, the Knuckles family. Father Jerry, longtime operator at Columbus Motor Speedway with the family, but now takes on crew chief duties. And, of course, Ryan and Emmy, the children of Brian Knuckles, very heavy into the quarter midget racing. So it's always three different types of race cars for the Knuckles family there.
And Uncle Jeff done a ton of announcing up there, took care of everything. And you know, that's a guy that got injured in a racing incident, but never slowed him down, stayed busy in the business, clear up until his passing. And just great family, great racing folks. So coming up next, out of Jerome, Michigan, at CEI Crane, Starrett Services, TR Crane and Towing, Ron Jacobs Shocks. Ron Jacobs truck, and that's the 45 machine of Keith Sheffers. Also on the track in a 15K out of Alveda, Ohio. That is going to be the 15K of Creed Kimenol. That Ohio Logistics, Madison Motors, car number 15, first lap for Sheffer, going to be at 12.198. Kimenol, first lap's going to be at 12.075. Right now, that's quick time, not now, 12.001. The second lap for Sheffer, and Kimenol gets into the wall. We got a little bit of a cushion up there, and it's okay till you get to it or over it. Sheffer's second lap was a 12.
Yeah, he was coming back for his second. Yeah, he's good.
So tough break there for Creed Kimenol. Had a good lap going. First lap of 12.07, and kind of jumped over the cushion, bit him a little bit, and got into the wall. So a lot of contact. So we're going to need to wreck her backed up to the 15 machine, that Ohio Logistics car. Going to have to go to do some work back there in the pit area. He got a good lap in before that happened. And, of course, go to the top of the chart, the Borden Racing number 45, Keith Scheffler Jr., a 12.001. So that's going to set the mark early in that 45 machine. Very good lap.
Good lap. And Kimenol's first lap was 12.075, so it's kind of one of them, wow, what would his second lap have been? However, he does have a lap scored in qualifying, so that will be plugged into the computer here when we make our lineups for our heat races. So he'll go back there. Seen his dad, Chad, back there earlier, so sure they will go to work on that car. And in sprint cars, everybody's going to help when they can. So
also want to take a moment. You notice the folks from the Lawrenceburg Fire and Safety crew here with us this weekend as well. So always good to see Bobby Gump in the game. Always great anytime you got an open wheel event to you never know when the Lawrenceburg Fire and Safety crew team's going to roll in, and they do a great job helping out anytime there's big races going on. They try and send a crew to help with open wheel events.
We are always glad to see them. Hey, race fans, here after qualifying, that's when we're going to open up the pits for Trick or Treat. And for the kids that want to be judged for their costume contest, once they're done trick or treating, they need to head towards the pit concession area. That's where the judging is going to be. So if you got a youngster that wants to be judged for their costume, then as soon as they're done trick or treating, make their way to the pit concession area, and that's where the judging for the contest will be. So we've got the 15 on the hook. They're going to take him right straight back to the pit area. So again, we've got some trailers decorated up back there in the pit area. So we don't have haunted houses. We have some haunted trailers, I believe, back in the pit area. It's going to be about a 20-minute break as soon as the Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series finishes their qualifying. We'll do the trick or treat, then we'll come back with opening ceremonies, go straight into heat races, and we're going to do everything we can to run everything right straight through this evening. So track workers making sure everything's smooth up there, as smooth as we can up there in turn number 4.
See him putting a little powder down there, some fluid out of the back of that machine as well, and making sure all the debris picked up there. Is see him kind of looking around.
Four cars out of 25 have qualified. Due up next is going to be Mike Keegan out of Fremont, also Zane DeVault from Plymouth, Indiana. Those two cars due up next. And then we'll get into a couple fast ones. Wow, the 7th and 8th cars to qualify. You remember last night. You're going to remember these guys. Cale Thomas in the 49X machine. Cole Duncan in the A79. Last night's, yeah. So it looks like we just about got everything ready here in turn number 4. They're going to run that Jeep right along that edge.
You mentioned Mike Keegan wasn't with us last night. He actually picked up a win here at Skyline Speedway a little less than a month ago.
Yes.
Friday night there in into September, and picked up a win at the Skyline Speedway. And, of course, the Burdett family is doing a nice job revitalizing that racetrack. But Mike Keegan, Northerner, come down and steal a win from the guys down south. I believe that was one of those new Gladiator Sprint Tour events.
I believe that was during their Harvest 50 weekend. And as you said, Burdett family doing a great job down there, and they're keeping the heritage there at Skyline Speedway. Worked down there many years. First Brent Steele, and then many years for Billy Gerald. When Billy Gerald owned that racetrack. And that was part of a deal for Billy that helped revitalize sprint cars really in Southern Ohio. At that time, the only thing running sprint cars was Atomic Speedway, and we weren't running them every week. Billy bought Skyline. The first thing he done was said, we're going to run them every week. And that really kind of helped revitalize sprint cars in this area. So as soon as they're done working that down, we'll go right back to qualifying.
Again, just making sure everything's good to go, and looks like we're clearing some of them off. There we go. So we'll get back going here with qualifications.
Sorry, I didn't hear you there. Go ahead and send the next two, please. Drivers, when you bring it onto the track, keep it at an idle pace for us. We just got a little bit of fluid.
Okay, we're going to come back at an idle pace. What we normally do on sprint cars, when they drop onto the racetrack, they are on the hammer because they are coming to green. We're going to let them run up along that edge just to make sure what fluid is rubbed down into that racetrack. So up next out of Fremont, Ohio, and at Level Utilities, M.A.K. Salon, John Wright's Custom Chrome, the Maxim Chassis, level making horsepower. That is going to be Mike Keegan in the X. Also out of Plymouth, Indiana, that Beaver Dam Fleet, FLT Farms. Another Triple X chassis. That is going to be the 97 machine of Zane DeVault. Of course, Keegan, another one of those families from up in the Fremont area that's just notorious. One of those notorious names with sprint cars.
And the number.
Yeah.
Keegan and the X number has always been synonymous with Northern Ohio racing and sprint cars. So good to see Mike coming down here. And, of course, we talked a little bit last night. The 97 machine, Zane DeVault, driver out of Plymouth, Indiana, driving another one of those Northern Ohio cars, the Sealing Motorsports number 97. He's had a lot of success and had a top 5 in the All-Star Circuit of Champion owners points this season in that 97 machine. So always a good race car.
Of course, many years ago, that X machine came down, and all it was on the top wing was Flirting with Disaster, an old Molly Hatchet song. Yep, that was Mark Keegan.
So it looks like we're getting a thumbs up from the driver, so they're going green, and we'll get started back here with qualifications.
So once again, Mike Keegan in the X machine. Out of Fremont, Ohio, at Level Utilities, M.A.K. Salon, John Wright's Custom Chrome in the X. First lap for Keegan's going to be 12.487. Zane DeVault out of Plymouth, Indiana. First lap's going to be 12.030. Puts him second quick on the speed chart. Second lap for Keegan's going to be 12.586. Zane DeVault, second lap, going to be at 12.116. So still going to be Keith Sheffers. Zane DeVault now moves to second. Creek coming off third. Like I say, he had a really good first lap. And then Mike Keegan, Brian Knuckles, and Anthony Gaskins. Spanky just whipped off that Mike Keegan name. I think you know a little more about sprint cars than what your boss up there in that front row gives you credit for.
I know from what I know about a lot of the older guys. I've got every copy of Mid-American Auto Racing News from about June of 1982 to when they quit printing there in, I don't know, around 2007, 2008, whatever that was. And Mark Keegan's name was always in the winner's circle up in northern Ohio.
Always there, always there. Up next, that 49 machine out of Fountaintown, Indiana. That is going to be the 49 of Cale Thomas. Also on the track, driver out of Circleville, Ohio. The car out of Piketon, Ohio. That's going to be the A79, the John Schubert's racing car of Cole Duncan. First lap for Thomas going to be at 12.029. Duncan, quick time, 11.832. First lap for Duncan. Second lap for Thomas going to be 12.058. Not quite as quick. Duncan's second lap is going to be 11.907. So Cole Duncan now to the top of the speed charts.
You know, it's kind of interesting to do a little research is looking at drivers this week and look at some of these guys run 50, 60, some of them even more races than that this year. And Cole Duncan last night was race number 29 on the season. So he's won 8 of them now after last night. So it's just impressive what he does in limited amount of racing compared to anyone else. And, obviously he's the man to beat when you roll to Atomic, but he's so good at a number of other places that he just doesn't run enough to get that extra recognition. And full-time family man just doesn't have time to do that.
And over the years, he's won here for 3 different owners. He's won in his family car. He won in the Danny Smith car when Danny broke his back at Attica that year. And then he's also won here now in the John Schubert's car. On the track now, out of Fremont, Ohio, at Napa, Kaiser Sound. Car number 29 of Zeth Sabo. And in the Ford machine out of Chillicothe, at Logan Drywall, Central Center Hardware, B&B Magic and Balloons. That's the 4U of Josh Davis. And Davis now suddenly just runs out of horsepower.
That car went into turn 1, and it kind of jumped a little bit there. And when it jumped, not good.
So we don't know if the car just jumped out of gear,
no,
if the motor quit.
Might have got the wall just a little bit as well with that right rear. You see a spot there in turn 1 as well. So tough break for Josh Davis. Absolutely. Everybody talking about what a great race it was with Cole Duncan and Cale Thomas running 1-2, but the show last night was Josh Davis charging up through there in a green to checker event. So tough start to the night for Josh, but back to green for the 29 machine of Zeth Sabo.
And last night was a race you didn't want to blink your eyes on because a little over 8 minutes we had that 30-lap race ran. First lap for Sabo is going to be a 12.003. That's got him third on the speed chart. Let's see if he learned anything and he can get a little faster on that second one. Man, he is right up there on that, we call it the hot shield line. 11.933. Going to be second quick on the speed chart for Zeth Sabo.
Sabo's got 1 win on the season. Picked that up at Attica Speedway on back on September 5th, I believe. So Zeth Sabo getting a win a little over a month ago. So coming down here and trying his hand.
So the word is now that Josh Davis's car, they said it just shut off. So I believe after the next group, we will give him a lap. So coming up next, it's the Florida guy. That 24D machine out of Northport, Florida, that's going to be Danny Sams III. Also in the 37 machine out of Terre Haute, Indiana. That's going to be the 37 machine of Bryce Norris. And again, this is just how we found it works the quickest. Just push them out 2 at a time. Just let them come in, come right to green. Take their 2 laps. I mean, you're talking 12-second laps, so it don't take long to get that done. First lap for Danny Sams going to be 11.983. That's third quick on the speed chart. Bryce Norris going to be at 12.375. Second lap for Danny Sams going to be at 12.015. Bryce Norris going to 12.243. And nothing real clear. Some of these guys' first lap is faster. Some of them second lap is faster.
Well, that first lap, Danny Sams was inches off the wall on both ends. So course, he picked up a win here a couple months ago at Bridgeport Speedway with the high limit. First year traveling on the national tour.
Love seeing those guys go do well on the national tours, on the big stage, if you will. Like I say, and Danny, that's the family deal. The consensus right now is it looks like there might be a rear end issue with the Ford machine of Josh Davis. They're going to take that car right back to the pit area. If they can make repairs, he will be able to come out and tag the tail of a heat race. Basically, right now, with not taking a time, he would just be the 25th on the chart. So he would just line up on the tail of one of the heat races. So seeing a little bounce, a little wobble, if you will, on the back of that race car.
Okay, drivers, we got a clear track. Push the next two, please.
So up next out of Circleville, Ohio, and that's Simpson Race Products, T&H Nut and Bolt, Bob Tucker Enterprises, SC Racing, Star Auto Body, Maxim Chassis. That is the 83X machine of Nate Reeser, and also in the 88 machine out of Altoona, Iowa. We come the big unit, and that Triple X chassis, that is the 88 of Austin McCarl. McCarl led early last night, started on the pole. First lap for Reeser is going to be 12.955. First lap for McCarl is going to be 11.931. Second quick on the speed chart for McCarl. Like I say, he was really fast last night. Second lap for Reeser is going to be 12.804. Second lap for McCarl, not quite as quick, going to be 11.968.
Again, as mentioned, McCarl looked really good early in the night, winning the heat race, running the dash event, and jumped to the lead early and kind of fell back a little bit. He's got wins in 360 and 410s at Knoxville this season, as well as another track championship. And I believe 5 wins overall between the 360 and the 410 this season for the big unit, Austin McCarl.
Little lineage in that family. Of course, his dad real famous for here at Atomic because of the issue they had that one night here with the World of Outlaws is his dad dove underneath the Donnie shots going into turn 1, and his dad just kind of waved at shots. That went real well. We just refer to it as the wave. Up next in that 5M machine out of Coolville, Ohio, Triple X chassis. Myers making horsepower. That is going to be Eric Martin in the 5M. Also on the racetrack in the 1B machine out of Chillicothe, Ohio, and that Thomas Gas. Bobby Doles, Automotive, Ryan Myers Motors. Graphic Creations, D&H Holland. That is going to be the 1B at Keith Baxter. First lap for Martin is going to be at 13.546. Keith Baxter's first lap is going to be at 12.747. Second lap for Martin, that's going to be 13.579. Keith Baxter going to be at 12.629. So Cole Duncan still on top of the chart, followed by Austin McCarl, Zeth Sabo, Danny Sams, Keith Shefford, Cale Thomas, Zane DeVault, Creed Kimenall, Bryce Norris, Mike Keegan, Keith Baxter, Brian Knuckles, Nate Reeser, Ryan Martin, Anthony Gaskins, and Josh Davis. That's got a 16 with about 9 to go. Correct? Yes, 16 with about 9 to go yet. Baxter across the charts there at about 13th spot. Eric Martin in the 14th spot. So coming up next in that 32 machine out of Findlay, Ohio, that is going to be Bryce Lucius. Also in the 3 out of Rawson, Ohio, that Benjamin Steele, Britt Coughing Trucking, Sour Mugs Tavern, King's Gold Meats, Team Newhart. That is going to be the 3TN of Ricky Peterson Jr. Bryce Lucius' first lap is going to be 11.870. Second quick, Ricky Peterson going to be 12.494. Second lap for Lucius going to be 11.885. Lucius now second on the speed chart. 5 cars now in the 11-second bracket. Second lap for Peterson going to be 12.158. That's a good lap, but still only got him 10th on the speed chart.
Yeah, Ricky put on a show last night late to the feature event as he definitely had to set up in that race car as he was coming forward. So the driver out of Rawson getting into the top 5 there in the last couple laps of last night's feature event. And again, Bryce Lucius has just been very impressive basically the last year and a half. And
Mike, it was just a really good racetrack last night, and everybody was able to race no matter what line they were in. We noted it more than once that we had guys on 3 different lines on that racetrack, and that really made it work well for them. And some of the guys, like you said, coming from the middle to the back of the pack, really passed a lot of cars. The 45 machine, he was supposed to start up front. He got a little sideways on the start, I think with some help, but then he charged the entire 30 laps. On the track now in that 10 machine out of Adrian, Michigan, and that Coldwater Lake Marina, Poor Racing, Rhino Racing. This is the 10 machine of Darren Nida. Also in the 4 machine out of Chillicothe, Ohio, in that Maxim chassis. That is the National Sprint Car Hall of Famer. That is Danny Smith. First lap for Nida is going to be a 12.576. First lap for Danny Smith is going to be a 12.918. Darren Nida's second lap is going to be a 12.426. Danny Smith's second lap going to be a 13.029. So still your top 5 in the 11s.
so Darren Nida, winner earlier this season up at Fremont Speedway in that 10 car. Runs a lot of the AFCS races up there. And, of course, not going to lie, we joked last night about Danny Smith and his flip-flops. It was pointed out when he come over to sign in, he was actually wearing tennis shoes tonight.
I looked at it when I came through the pit area. I was back there looking, just harassing him, and he had tennis shoes on the night, because last night he definitely had flip-flops on. On the track right now, in that 19 machine out of West Plano, Texas, that's going to be T.J. Michael. And in the 16 out of Lemoore, California, that is going to be Gage Garcia. And like you were saying earlier, Mike, he has kind of been hanging out with the Linder family. And that'll definitely have an influence on you. Garcia's first lap's going to be a 12.652. T.J. Michael's going to be a 12.925. Second lap for Gage Garcia is going to be a 12.915. T.J. Michael's going to be a 12.640. 3 more to go.
Of course, the 16-car Gage, first time here, and we know that's a very fast race car. DJ Foose with quite a few wins in the Burmeister Racing, number 16 this season. So Gage Garcia probably going to be a guy we're going to see as the night goes on, gets better and a little more comfortable around this racetrack here as the night goes on.
It will be a good learning curve for him. Again, youngsters, after qualifying for the Valvoline Ironman Late Model Series, then we will have about 20 minutes. We're going to open the pit gate for the trick-or-treat. And if you want to be judged for your costume, once you're done trick-or-treating, head right up to the pit concessions. Don't wait the whole 20 minutes. Get your trick-or-treating done, and then get back to the pit concession area for the judging. Speaking of Sterling Kling, out of Tempe, Arizona, an SCR machine. Sterling Kling Racing. This is the 34 of Sterling Kling. Also on the track, out of Leduc, Alberta, Canada, and that's Southern Ohio Stone. Dirt Sharks Excavating, Pack Rat Dumpsters, Strong Properties. This is the 99 of Skylar G. First lap for Sterling Kling is going to be at 12.977. Skylar G going to be at 12.110. Sterling Kling, second lap is going to be at 12.793, 12.793. Quicker lap for Kling on the second one. Skylar G going to be at 12.084. A little second quicker on his second lap. So as we're done, 5 of them in the 11. Still going to be Cole Duncan, almost done. Got one more to go. But as of right now, Cole Duncan still your quick time with 11.832. Duncan, Lucius, McCarl, Sabo, and Sams. Your top 5, and they're all in the 11s.
And what we think is going to be our final qualifier out of Pocahontas, Illinois, the 5D is Zach Dahm. Did get a chance. We kind of speculated yesterday. Didn't know if he'd ever actually been here. Told me he's raced 2 races here with the Extreme Midget Series a couple years back when they come to town. And says as soon as he got here the first time, that first night he said he wished he'd brought the sprint car with him, as he knew that would kind of help him in the midget. So was excited to come here and spend the weekend with us. Said no one else running the 410, so wanted to make the haul. So the veteran driver out of Pocahontas, Illinois, got a number of championships in the Power I Midget Series, a former New Zealand track champion as well, trying out his hand with the 410.
And again tonight, we're on Flow, so we're being seen in New Zealand and Australia, and we need to tell those folks all hey. And Danny Smith said to give every one of them a hug because those folks down there just absolutely loving it great to him. Dom's first lap's going to be a 13:058. Second lap for Zach Dom's going to be a 12.967. And that will wrap up qualifying for the Ohio Heating and Cooling sprint cars here this evening. Dom's going to shut her down and go roll through the infield, go back into the pit area. And again, Cole Duncan going to be your quick time here this evening. Bryce Lucius, Austin McCarl, Zess Sabo, Danny Sams, Keith Sheffer, Cale Thomas, Zane DeVault, Creed Kimenall, Skylar G. That's your top 10. Then Ricky Peterson, Bryce Norris, Darren Knight, and Mike Keegan, Keith Baxter, TJ Michael, Gage Garcia, Brian Knuckles, Sterling Kling, Nate Reeser, Danny Smith, Zach Dom, Eric Martin, Anthony Gaskins, and Josh Davis. Spanky, that's it for our sprint cars. Coming up next, time for some more fun, ain't it?
Yes, sir. And tell you what, the way just looking at the monitor here with 410 sprint car qualifying times on it, the way this should shake out should make for some very interesting heat races for the race fans here later on in the evening. And just about set and ready to go with VP Racing Fuel Challenge O'Clock time trials. Again, 26 entries. So it'll be overall qualifying. That'll set the lineups for 3 8-lap qualifying heat races this evening. That'll see the top 5 transfer on to the Valvoline A main event. And those that don't transfer out of the heats will go to a 8-lap B main. That'll see top 5 transfer. Then there'll be 2 series provisionals. And our first qualifiers out the gate going to be led out by the veteran in the B1 out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, Josh Bocook. And he will be joined by last night's winner in the 157 out of Winfield, Tennessee, the Winfield Warrior, Mike Marlar. Josh Bocook in the B1 out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, 44 years of age. He's the car owner. It's a Swartz chassis, Swartz race car with a Mullins race engine, sponsored by Bocook's Garage. Gampo's Lawn Equipment and 5-star bodies. The 157 of Winfield, Tennessee's Mike Marlar, 47 years of age, in a Ronnie Delco Longhorn with a Cornet engine making the power beneath the hood, sponsored by Delco Equipment, Mesilla Valley Transportation, Langenfelter Mechanical Contractors, Petroff Towing, Can-Am Auto Salvage, Paulson Rock Products, Stussy Construction, Marlar Trailer Sales, Jerry Siding, Roofing and Windows, ABC Supply Company, Capital Sign Company, Certainteed Race Ranch, and Longhorn Dynamics. And Mike Marlar, his best lap going to be a 13.829, and that's going to be the mark they're shooting for at the moment, 13.829. Josh Bocook's best lap going to be a 14.425. Next pair of drivers rolling out. In the S21 out of Jackson, Ohio, to be Seth Daniels, and joining him in the 27 out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania, it'll be Michael Lake. Seth Daniels out of Jackson, Ohio, 26 years of age, in the Jason Wilson-owned Rocket XR 1.2 with a Ryan race engine making a horsepower. Sponsored by Wilson Excavating, Tim Haddle Trucking, Basil Race Fuels, Montgomery Motorsports, S&D Transport, Red's Rolling Garage, Four Boys Racing Supply, and FK Rod Ends. The 27 of Michael Lake out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 24 years of age, in the Bobby Lake Motorsports Longhorn with a Pro-Power race engine. Sponsored by Bobby Lake Motorsports, Gary's Auto Sales, Base Racing Fuel, D&M Trucking, Seal Tight Paving, Longhorn Dynamics, and KZ Engineering. And Seth Daniels going to be a second quick at the moment at a 14.333. Michael Lake third quick at 14.381, the best of their 2 qualifying laps. Next pair of drivers rolling out, going to be led out by the driver, the 28, the 2-time Gateway Dirt Nationals winner, out of Parkersburg, West Virginia. That will be Tyler Carpenter. And joining him in the number 12 machine, he is out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. It'll be racing Jason Jameson. Tyler Carpenter in the 28, 34 years of age. He's a car owner. It's a Kryptonite race car with an Eisner race engine, sponsored by Holden Construction. Poske's Performance Parts, State Line Construction, The Dewdrop Inn, Weir's Machine, Graphic Creations, Whamco, Integra Shocks, the Octad Group, and Parkersburg Plumbing Supply. The 12 of Jason Jamison out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, 41 years of age, in the James Ratliff Racing Longhorn with the Clements Race Engine. Sponsored by MGL Auto Sales, JRR Motor Sales, Keltner Contracting, Grant Lee Farms, Antonio's Pizza Pub, JRR Trucking, The Auto Outlet, Budaberg Transmission Sales and Service, and Cheap Chevrolet. Jason Jamison will go to second quick now at 13.877, 13877. Tyler Carpenter third quick at 14.233. Next pair of qualifiers are going to be let out by the 8 out of Swanton, Ohio, Rob Anderzak. He will be joined by the 29 out of Pataskala, Ohio, a series winner here on August 23rd. That will be Clint Keenan. Rob Anderzak out of Swanton, Ohio, 38 years of age, in the Anderzak Racing Longhorn with a Gretzman Power Sports engine beneath the hood. Sponsored by Available Ready Mix, 10 Mile Creek Excavating, Tri-County Tire, APC Motorsports, and Dittman Motorsports. The 29 of Clint Keenan out of Pataskala, Ohio, 40 years of age, in the C.L. Kenyon Concrete Incorporated Kryptonite with a Mullins Race engine. Sponsored by Tony Hunt Trucking, DeLilly Oxygen, Bilstein Shocks, DeVoe Construction, Deco Creek Supply, Ty-Torque Performance, and M&M Head Service. As Anderzak went around here at the bottom of turn number 1, that will draw the Deathridge Racing Optician caution flag.
Yeah, he just kind of got up against the wall just a little bit off of turn number 4. And Swanton a little too far up against the wall. And the 29 car had to check up, so we'll go to caution. Rules here says we reset the clock for those two drivers,
under
correct?
series rules, the clock is reset. Both drivers fire them back off and get back underway. Clint Keenan will bring his machine to the excess power batteries green flag first. Right now, Marlar, Jamison, Carpenter, Daniels, and Lake, your top 5 qualifiers. 14.524 on that first lap for Clint Keenan. Rob Anderzak, 15.180. And off of turn number 4, coming to the checkered flag. Clint Keenan, 14.334. They do owe Rob Anderzak 1 lap. 180 his first lap. So he will come back and has a 1 lap to get. Trying to better that first lap. And Anderzak had a tough night last night. A lot of just silly little parts failures going on. Anderzak 14.539. His quickest lap 14.539. As our next pair of qualifiers get set to roll out, I'm going to be led out by the 63 out of Holland, Ohio. That is Terry Rushlow. And joining Rushlow in his qualifying effort will be the 6 out of Stoutsville, Ohio, Travis Carr. The 63 of Terry Rushlow out of Holland, Ohio, 41 years of age, in a Mike Anderzak-owned Longhorn chassis with a Gretzman Power Sports race engine. Sponsored by Rick's Affordable Heating and Cooling, Get It Done Auto Parts, and Dittman Motorsports. The 6 of Travis Carr out of Stoutsville, Ohio, 38 years of age, in the car racing a Rocket XR1 with a Race City Performance CT525 steel block engine making the horsepower. It's sponsored by Race City Performance, Amco Performance, D&H Hawley, Huntley Trucking, Randy's Motorcycle Repair, Mossy Oak Properties, Poske's Performance Parts, and Octane Race Products. And the best of the 2 laps for Terry Rushlow, 9th quick at 14.711. 14.711. Travis Carr, 10th quick at 14.834.
Coming to the checker flag there, Rushlow got up against the outside wall in turn number 4, able to keep it moving and able to finish off his qualifying laps. So no harm, no foul. Might have slowed his second lap down just a little bit, but we'll be all right.
And our next pair of qualifiers getting set to roll out. Going to be led out by the driver that will be the 2025 Avalade American Late Model Ironman Series champion. Also the FloRacing Rookie of the Year in the 53C out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, Colton Burdett. He will be joined by the young man that it's a steel block motor. We call it the little engine that could. The 18C out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, Miles Cook II. Colton Burdett out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, 32 years of age, and the Steve Curtis-owned Rocket with an Andy Durham race engine. Sponsored by Curtis Towing, Advanced Painting, Dimmitt Accounting, Go Lithium, Matt Cochran's Trucking, Athens Advanced Chiropractic, Westfall Towing, and Hoosier Tire by Fry. The 18C of Miles Cook II out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, 20 years of age, the LMC Millwright Services. And with a Rocket with a LaSalle race engine, LMC Collision Services, Halls, Napa Auto Parts, Conley Trucking, Afterburner Performance, Basil Oil, and Farmers Raceway. And the 53C of Colton Burdett will be 3rd quick at 14.222. 14.222. Miles Cook II, 14.844. As our next pair of qualifiers roll out. And the 33 out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, Kevin Wagner. And the 00, also out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, will be Justin Cooper. Kevin Wagner out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, 42 years of age, in the Wagner Racing Rocket XR1 with a Bullock race engine. Little Septic Service, Collier Companies or Stackers Sales and Service, Wagner Lawn Not Care, Jenkins Sunoco Rush Welding and Fabrication, Skinner Race Wraps, and Staker's Machine Shop. The 00, Justin Cooper, 34 years of age, in the Conley Motorsports Rocket with a Ramey race engine, sponsored by Conley Trucking, Conley River Terminal, Posky Performance Parts, Shane Custom Decals, and Impact Race Gear. And the best of the 2 laps, Kevin Wagner, 14th quick at 15.059. Justin Cooper, 10th quick at 14.704. Next pair of qualifiers going to be rolling out, led out by last night's 3rd place finisher in the 11 out of Crittenden, Kentucky, Josh Rice. He will be joined by the 57M out of Winfield, Tennessee, Cameron Muller. Josh Rice out of Crittenden, Kentucky, 27 years of age, in that James Ratliff Racing owned Longhorn with the Clements Race engine, sponsored by JR Motor Sales, MGL Auto Sales, Grant Lee Farms, Keltner Contracting, JR Trucking, the Auto Outlet, Budaberg Transmissions, Glenwood Electric, Sunesys Holdings, MC Tank Transport, Rice Excavating and Plumbing, Chain Locker, and Rapid Fire Graphics. The 57M of Cameron Marler, 30 years of age, and a Greg and Lisa Curl, owned Curl Properties, Hits and Construction, Marler Auto Mart, Mac Metal Sales and Trusses, sponsored number 57M. Josh Rice going to be 3rd quick at 14.047. 14.047, and Cameron Marler 4th quick at 14.056. So it's Mike Marler, Jason Jamison, Josh Rice, Cameron Marler, Colton Burdett, your top 5 here at the moment. Next pair getting set to roll out. Going to be led out by the 0 out of Middleburg, Pennsylvania. That'll be Andrew Yoder, and he will be joined by last night's runner-up, the 2025 Lucas Oil Model Dirt Series champion out of Dresden, Ohio, the mailman Devin Moran. Andrew Yoder out of Middleburg, PA, 30 years of age, in the Larry Bayer owned Rocket XR1 with a Clements race engine, sponsored by Creekside Auto Sales, Stein Trucking, Rich Trans, Windview Truck Repair, Smitty's Tree Service, Douse Electric, and Miller Race Engines. Devin Moran in that 99, 31 years of age, the Double Down Motorsports Longhorn with a Clements race engine, sponsored by Millwood Plumbing, Lazy Days RV, C&W Trucking, Big River Steel, Car Service, CarSourceAuto.com, Smoky Mountain Speedway, AccuForce Dynos and Testers, Red Oak Pub, and McHugh Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Devin Moran, he'll go to 3rd quick now at 13.879, 13.879. And the 0 of Andrew Yoder will be 15th quick at 14.711.
Very consistent laps for Devin Moran there, both of them in the 8.7 range, I believe. So third quick in 0.02 of a second off of Jason Jamison in second.
Next pair in the retro C4 machine out of Parkersburg, West Virginia, Freddie Carpenter. And he will be joined by fellow Mountaineer State driver in the 5M out of Poca, West Virginia. That will be Zach Milby. Freddie Carpenter, 55 years of age, in his own Kryptonite race car with a Mullins race engine, sponsored by Keyser Manufacturing, Johnny Boston General Contractor, ProTech Auto Sales, Octane Race Products, Bill Steen, and Steve Rowan Enterprises. The 5M of Zach Milby out of Poca, West Virginia. He's the car owner. Zach Milby Racing with a Longhorn with a Mullins race engine, steel block engine, Dome Cycles, Afterburner Performance, Octane Race Products, Bosky Performance Parts, Hoosier Tire, Ohio Valley, Burlisle Petroleum, and David Smith Frame and Body, Finish One Auto Body Supply, Axis Custom Decals, and FK Rod Ends. And the C4 of Freddie Carpenter going to be 8th quick at 14.258. Zach Milby. And the 5M machine, 14.515. He is 13th quick at the moment. Next pair of drivers. We'll feature the 5M out of Ashland, Ohio, Ryan Markham, and the 57 out of New Concord, Ohio, Caden Black. Ryan Markham out of Ashland, Ohio, 53 years of age, and the RLMR owned Longhorn chassis with a Danny Glad race engine, sponsored by Afterburner Performance, B&B Drain Service, Chewy's Tacos and Margaritas and Food Truck, Beer Barrel Drive-Thru, Ocala Restaurant Supply, Monster Motors, Schaefer's Oil back in the boutique, and Life's a Gamble Livestock. The 57 of Caden Black out of New Concord, Ohio, 20 years of age, and the Courtney Black owned Longhorn chassis with an Andy Durham race engine, sponsored by Mallett's Concrete, Muskingum Valley Oral Surgery, Joyride Transport, 803 Company, LePage Motorsports, Elite Signs and Graphics, Denny's, Zimba Brothers Incorporated, Adam Brothers, Concrete Products, 3B Welding, My Pool Guy, Mike's Auto Body and Repair. Ryan Markham, 21st quick at 14.928. The 57 of Caden Black, 13th quick at 14.477. Next pair of drivers will feature the 31 out of Belmont, Ohio. That is Lincoln Smith. And he will be joined by the 71R of Wheelersburg, Ohio, Rod Conley. Lincoln Smith in the 31, 14 years of age. In the Heath Smith owned a Longhorn chassis with a Cornet race engine, making a horsepower beneath the hood. Pivotal Propane, the sponsor on that 31 machine. The 71R out of Wheelersburg, Ohio, Rod Conley, 63 years of age, in the Conley Motorsports Rocket XR2 with a Grammy race engine, sponsored by Conley Trucking, Afterburner Performance, and Posky Performance Parts, Conley River Terminal, and Shane Custom Decals. And the best of the 2 laps for Lincoln Smith. In the 31 machine, he'll be 8th quick at 14.248. 14.248. Rod Conley. His best lap, 14.770. 14.770 for Rod Conley in the 71R. That's 20th quick. And the 95 of the Jedi, Jerry Bowersock out of Wapakoneta, Ohio. He'll get 2 laps right here. R.J. Conley not in his proper position in line. He will only receive 1 lap right here. As Bowersock, 59 years of age, in his own rocket with a Clements race engine, sponsored by TB Tile, Trim and Quarter Horses, Best Performance, Afterburner Shocks, and Howard Johnson's Alima. R.J. Conley, the 71C, 61 years of age, the Conley Motorsports Longhorn with a Grammy race engine, Conley Trucking, Afterburner Performance, Posky Performance Parts, Conley River Terminal, and Shane Custom Decals. And R.J. Conley, 14th quick at 14.458. 14.458. And Jerry Bowersock going to be 21st at 14.757. Your top qualifier at 13.829 seconds.
And Spanky, the steel block bonus at Atomic is in effect tonight. The steel block bonus is in effect. And right now, as soon as these late models are in the pit area, they're going to open the pit gate for the next 20 minutes. We're going to go about 20 minutes.
Yeah, 13.829 tonight's VP Racing Fuels Challenge O'Clock Time Trials Top Qualifier. Last night's winner out of Winfield, Tennessee, the Winfield Warrior, Mike Marler.
So once again, pit gate is going to be open for trick-or-treaters. The trailers are open. Everybody's back there ready and waiting for the trick-or-treaters for about the next 20 minutes. And if you are one of the youngsters or have a youngster back there that wants your costume judged, as soon as you're done trick-or-treating, go back up by the pit concession stand, and that's where the judging is going to take place. So qualifying's done. All the preliminaries. We're going to do the trick-or-treat back in the pit area. We're going to kick on some music, and we'll be back in about 20 minutes with opening ceremonies, and then we're going green flag racing.